Welcome to Beyond the Broadsheet, a podcast by the Lincoln County News. We are a community newspaper based in Midcoast, Maine, and we provide the most comprehensive, in-depth coverage available anywhere of the 18 towns and one plantation that make up Lincoln County. My name is Claire Taylor, and I'm a general assignment reporter here at the Lincoln County News.
And my name is Christina Wallace. I'm also a reporter here at LCN, covering the towns of Bristol, South Bristol, Bremen, and Noblesboro.
And I'm Ali Juell, and I cover Damascotta, Newcastle, Whitefield, and Edgecombe.
In last week's episode, reporter Christina Wallace talked to Abby Iverson, the development director at Coastal Kids Preschool, about the school's sensory-friendly Pumpkin Fest event, which occurred on Monday, October 13th. In our second segment this week, podcast producer Lucas McNelly will interview Keri Lupien, the current concert booker and former president of the Waldo Theatre in Waldoboro. But first, here are some of the top stories from the Thursday, October 23rd edition of the Lincoln County News. Westport Island retained an environmental consultant, declaring the Westport Island Select Board's neutrality on the issue of a potential data center development in neighboring Wiscasset. Board members agreed to hire a national nonprofit consultant in an effort to protect the town's interest. In their meeting on Monday, October 20th, Select Board Chair Donna Curry made a motion to expend $1,000 to hire Community and Environmental Dissent Services to provide an in-depth analysis of the proposal, as well as possible impacts and mitigation options for the island. The motion passed unanimously, though board member Lisa Johnson expressed hesitancy to make the hire before receiving more information on the proposal. The Select Board is still awaiting a response to a Freedom of Access Act request submitted to the town of Wiscasset seeking all information related to the data center concept. Wiscasset town officials have repeatedly said the idea is still in its earliest stages and no commitments or agreements have been made.
Developing story. A new Edgecombe storefront is having a homecoming. Seawick's Candle Company is returning to its roots with a new brick-and-mortar location in Edgecombe. Owners Cara and Michael Gaffney now operate 2 stores in Lincoln County, with their Booth Bay Harbor location and the brand-new shop at 289 Route 1. The couple began the Candle Company 14 years ago in a workshop beside their cottage in Edgecombe. A lot has changed in the years since, but the soy candles are still crafted with the same hands-on approach, free of chemical additives. Seawick's candles are now available in Whole Foods, LL Bean stores, and the Holy Donut shops across New England, as well as several local stores. Until the store is fully staffed, Gaffney advised customers to look out for the yellow buoy on the store's exterior to know if the shop is open.
It's such a creative way to tell if a shop is open or not, especially in Midcoast, Maine.
It's really cute.
It's funny though because it's on Route 1. I feel like you'll have to kind of slow down a little to peek out and see. But
Makes you pay attention.
Totally, very true.
In news out of Bristol, the Bristol Select Board started discussions on whether to replace or restore the historic arch bridge on Benner Road during their meeting on Wednesday, October 15th. According to Select Board Chair Chad Hanna, the bridge is estimated to be over 200 years old and is considered one of the oldest in the area. Hanna said there have been 2 minor restorations on the bridge in the past, but the stone continues to deteriorate. For the bridge to continue to be listed on the National Register of Historic Places, repairs would have to follow the original dry lay stone technique, utilizing only local field stones without any modern materials such as mortar or steel. The first step of the process to either restore or replace the bridge is to install a temporary bridge. Funds for the temporary bridge will be built into the municipal budget that residents will consider during the annual town meeting in March 2026. And they currently do not have any cost estimates for whether restoring or replacing the bridge would be more cost effective, but Chad Hanna said that both options are somewhere north of $1 million. So they are working with some architects to decide which option is going to be best. So yeah,
big investments.
Very much so.
A Noblesboro woman's breast cancer journey inspired local support when her Damascotta-based team Fight Like a Girl topped the fundraising leaderboard for the American Cancer Society's annual breast cancer walk in Portland on Sunday, October 19th. Led by Nobleboro residents Mindy Starr Fowler, who is currently in her final rounds of radiation following a breast cancer diagnosis, the 19-member team raised $14,460, more than 10% of the event's total donations. Star Fowler and her husband John are longtime patrons of King Eider's Pub in Damariscotta. Following Star Fowler's decision to join the walk, the pub announced that they would sponsor Star Fowler's entire team in her honor and in support of everyone touched by this disease, and encouraged the community to become involved by walking, donating, or simply sending love and encouragement, saying, "Together we make strides." Star Fowler wasn't sure she could actually complete the 1.25-mile walk, which happened to be scheduled during her final week of radiation, but her teammates were determined to help her cross the finish line. Surrounded by friends and family, Star Fowler walked under the inflatable pink arch that framed the iconic Portland headlight with her arm raised in triumph. As of Monday morning, October 20th, the Greater Portland arm of the American Cancer Society Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk has raised $615 for breast cancer research, well over this year's goal of $86,700.
Wow.
Very
That's
cool.
incredible.
Yeah, I am impressed by the determination in a multitude of ways it took to cross the finish line.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Lincoln County collects top honors in MPA contest. The Lincoln County News collected 22 first, second, and third place awards in the 2025 Maine Press Association Better Newspaper Contest. Included among the awards were second place honors in the General Excellence Advertising and third place recognition in the General Excellence Print category. Lincoln County Magazine, a seasonal publication made by the LCN staff, received numerous awards, including first place honors for Back to Lincoln County and third place for Farm to Table in the supplement special section category. Established in 1864, the Maine Press Association works to promote and foster high ethical standards in journalism.
It was a really fun event to be at. Ali and I got to go to our first MPA conference and awards ceremony.
Yes.
And it was a good time. There was lots of educational talks and things like that.
Yeah.
So
It was just cool to see all of the other journalists and well, not all of them, but a good chunk of the journalists across the state, because I feel like it can be easy to be so caught up in our own news environment. It was cool to hear from other people, hear, the wins and the struggles that are going on across the state. So.
yeah, and even like meeting people from our neighboring newspapers like the Midcoast Villager, our Boothbay Register. It was really cool to see the people behind the bylines, if you will.
100%. No, it was awesome.
It's a very good time.
Looking forward to next year.
Absolutely. For Bill Bragg, hard work is a value. This is our Character of the County piece by Sherwood Olin. For almost his entire life, William, aka Bill Bragg, has made his living doing the jobs that needed to be done in and around his hometown of Waldoboro. Bragg said his parents instilled the value of hard work in him. He said, "I was raised, if you want to do something, you've got to work for it. You're not going to sit around and do nothing and expect someone to pay you." Nearly 50 years as an active Waldoboro firefighter, Bragg has made a living combining private sector employment with stipend or paid municipal positions. To learn more about Bill Bragg, pick up a copy of the paper or visit lcnme.com.
Now on to our second segment, where podcast producer Lucas McNelly will chat with Keri Lupien about life at the Waldo Theatre. For full disclosure, before Lucas gets into the heat of it, both him and our editor Maya have previously served on the board at the Waldo, so must be noted, but hope you enjoy.
Okay, I'm here with Keri Lupien from the Waldo Theatre. Keri, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So I wanted to get you guys in here to talk about the Waldo Theatre. So let's get the history out of the way first. So the Waldo Theatre was built in, what year was it? I knew this.
1936.
1936. It was modeled after Radio City Music Hall, right?
Yeah, it was. So the story behind it is there was a businessman in Waldoboro who had made his money in the lumber business, and he thought that what Waldoboro really needed was a state-of-the-art movie theater.
Sure.
So he enlisted the help of some local builders. He used local lumber, and he hired an architect that went on to Ben Schlanger, who later went on to work on the Radio City Music Hall, the Kennedy Center, and the Symphony Hall in Australia. So he went on to do some really great things. And at the time, the movie theater had state-of-the-art acoustics and sound with RCA, and it was referred to as Maine's Little Radio City Music Hall.
Very cool. And so then the theater thrived for a long time, and then not so much. And the roof needed to be fixed, and you guys got a new board in there and have revived the roof, fixed the roof, revived the theater, and now you're off and running.
Yeah, that's a really condensed version of it, but that's essentially what happened. I mean, it went through a bunch of different iterations where it was a movie theater, and then culturally that changed. Bringing people to a theater to just watch movies. At one point, I think it was a Masonic Hall. It was a doctor's office at one point. It really had a big heyday in the 80s as a community theater playhouse. And when we got together as a group of citizens back in 2016 to reopen it, it was with the idea that we wanted this venue to be more than just a building. We really wanted it to be a community space where the programming that happened was in response to what the community wanted to see. So whether that was film or education or concerts or comedy, we were open to whatever was going to bring people in the door, sell tickets, and keep pushing it forward to the future so that we wouldn't be going through another shutdown again. This was the last time that we were going to reopen the Waldo.
Right. Because you can't be like, well, I like folk music and we're going to do folk music. And if you don't like it, tough.
Exactly. And that's sometimes that can be hard. The arts as an organization, people are really passionate about it, and people have their things that they're excited about and that they're passionate about or that they have experience in. So it's hard to give everybody a fair shot at putting something on the stage. But that's really exciting, though, because you have all of these different ideas come to the table. And I'm really proud of when you look at our calendar, especially as we've grown over the past couple of years, just how diverse the programming is. I mean, we really have something for everybody. And that's both in acts and in price and time of day and in offerings. I mean, it's really pretty broad.
I know every time I look at the calendar, there's always one thing on there where I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
Where did that come from? And sometimes it's something big, like when John Waters was here, I was like, oh, wow, John Waters. Wow. And then sometimes I'm just looking at it, I'm like, I've never heard of this. I don't even know what this type of event is.
Right. What is this? And that could be anything from a sing-along to we do something called craft cinema where we put the lights at 50%. And
this isn't one of my questions.
Am I jumping ahead?
No, you're fine.
Where we invite people to come in and bring their knitting or their woodworking or watercolors and talk in a movie theater. I know. And we show, movies that aren't going to take a lot of attention span, whether that's Twilight or I'm trying to think some of the other.
Clueless, I think, is one.
Clueless is one. So we try to do all sorts of different things. We've got a really great series with Waldo After Dark where our programmers do campy, offbeat, B-list horror movies, like everything. And that's been really fun to see what
I went to one of those recently, and it was a horror movie, like an Italian horror Gallo film, and it involved a raven identifying a murderer in an opera. And I was like, well, that is something I've never seen before. I've seen a lot of movies.
That's an interesting plot line. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's been really fun to see. And Buffy and Sam, who run that program, are just so creative. And I love seeing those kind of movie buffs have something, in a cinema setting in the Mid-Coast. That's pretty cool.
Because Flagship's not going to book the Italian Gallo film from the 70s.
Exactly. And we're not set up to do first run films either. It's really expensive to do, the projection, the sound, and I think a lot of people who want to go see those types of movies want the leather recliners with the popcorn and the surround sound, and that's not who we are. So we're trying to do what works for the space as well.
How do you determine, other than, I know you sent out some surveys, right? Like, how, other than just talking to people at the Narrows, like how do you determine what the community wants and doesn't want to see? And how do you differentiate between, like, no, this is just some one loudmouth who's very convincing? Right.
A lot of it is a bit of a calculated shot in the dark.
Okay.
And we get the feedback by what sells, really.
Right.
It's ticket sales. When we booked John Waters, for example, the way that happened is the agent reached out and said, John Waters, he lives in Provincetown. You should really think about booking him. It's a short flight for him to get from Provincetown to Owl's Head. And I think he would do really great in the area. And I thought, if we book John Waters, is anyone even going to come? Do people want to see that? And we booked it and we sold out within, I think our first show, we sold out within an hour, and then we added a second night and that sold out within a few hours. So after a while, you start to get a bit of a feel for okay, this is what the community wants.
I will say that I was at the John Waters show, and there were a lot of people there who'd never been to Waldoboro before a day in their life.
Oh,
there was a lot of people who didn't even know Waldoboro existed.
I get up before every show that I produce on stage, and I welcome people to the Waldo and talk a little bit about the upcoming events and stuff. But I always start off asking, how many of you, show of hands, how many of you are here for the first time? And I would say, without fail, every time 30 to 40% of the audience, it's their first time being in the Waldo Theatre. And I think there's a lot of people who've never been to Waldoboro before.
Yeah.
I mean, we get John Waters. We had people come from Cambridge and from the Cape and New Hampshire and Bangor. But he's a bit of an exception, but I would say it's not uncommon for us to get people to make an hour and a half, 2 hour drive to come for a show. There's a lot of shows that we do because of a radius clause. So there's a thing in all contracts that say if an artist is playing a venue, they can't play another venue, usually within 90 days, within 90 miles.
Okay.
So you're not going to get an artist go to the Chocolate Church and then come to us and then the Lincoln Theatre and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of times we'll get an artist and this is their only main appearance. And people are just so excited by that they'll drive for whatever to come see that artist. And then they get there and then they say, oh, wow, I didn't realize that this theater existed. And it didn't look like this from the outside. And I had no idea that the seats were so comfortable and the view was so good and the acoustics were fabulous. So that's really fun to see people come to the theater for the first time and be surprised not only by the quality of the art that's happening on stage, but also just how great the building is.
It's a really great building. Is there a trick to getting people here who aren't from the area? Is it just a question of, oh, I heard about a John Waters thing? What percentage of it is who you're booking and they're going to promote their show, and which percentage of it is you guys trying to get the word out beyond Lincoln County, for example?
Oh, I wish I knew the answer to that. I can't tell you how many times we book a show like John Waters, right? We had him for 2 days back in 2023, and then we booked him for 2 days this summer. How many people still are like, John Waters was at the Waldo? I didn't know. So it's hard, I think, in today's day and age to advertise and get the word out. I mean, there's just so much information out there. There's so many things happening. So how do you tell people about this theater and about our events and the calendar and what's happening? Obviously, the artists do a good job of promoting the shows for us, but how do you connect with people in Lincoln County and greater Maine about the offerings that we have?
It's tricky.
It is tricky. It really is.
So I have a fun story. I may have told you this story before, but so when I was living in Pennsylvania and my first film came out, and I somehow talked Flagship into booking it for a week and in Thomaston. And so I spent a month promoting this. I came home. I was on the radio. I was running Facebook ads. I was talking till I was blue in the face. I thought everybody is sick of me talking about this, et cetera, et cetera. And you probably know the feeling. You're just like, I'm just promoting this way too much. Everyone hates me now. Second night, a guy comes in, Michael Catalano, who I'm calling him out now on the podcast. And Michael Catalano, I went to school with him. When I would come home for Christmas, I would watch football games at his house. Like, this is not a guy I need to tell about the thing. This is a guy who should already know about the thing and already have pre-bought it. He comes in. I'm like, hey, you came to see my movie. He goes, what movie? He was there to see some Russell Crowe thing. Oh. He didn't even know I was back in town.
Wow.
So it's just always the example I use of, like, you think you're doing all of this and it's only this much.
Yeah.
In other people's, like, they're thinking about their own stuff.
And I would even add to that I would say, we'll put an article in the Lincoln County News, for example, that has been really great about working with us with press releases, and people will come up to us afterwards and they're like, oh, I saw that and I forgot about it. And so it's people's schedules are so busy. There's so many different things to do in the area that it's hard. I mean, right now I've got some shows coming up in November, and I think there's also this mentality of like, oh, November's 6 months away.
That's so far away.
It's so far away. And I'm like, oh, it's, I mean, I know we have a show we have a show on the 19th with Julian Lodge that is sold out. And I know that there are going to be people who thought that they had weeks left to buy tickets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I work at the Lincoln County News, have very much am interested in making sure the Waldo stays afloat. And so I'm always checking your schedule. And I'm still missing stuff.
Yeah.
And forgetting about stuff. And I saw the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which has already happened in the past because we're recording this a week early. And I was like, oh, right. I missed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's a real challenge. It's both for the people who want to go to the things and for you guys because you obviously want to sell the tickets.
Yeah. How do we market and who do we go to? So what really has been working is organic word of mouth. People will say, oh, I heard about this place from a friend. Mm-hmm. And what's really kind of cool is it's helping us on the other side of things where artists and agents are reaching out to us in a way, and they said, oh, you guys did that sold out show with 10,000 Maniacs.
Yeah.
Can you put together a date?
That I want to go to.
Yeah, that was a really good one. Yeah. So people will say, oh, I heard about Henry Rollins or any other show. And they say, the artist had a really great experience there. You sold it out. It looks like a really cool venue. Do you want to work together?
Yeah, because that's what the artists want. They want a sold out experience in a good venue where they're taken care of and not,
Absolutely.
I'm sure our mutual friend John has some horror stories about venues that did not go well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Henry Rollins, for example, he was like, where am I? I'm like, you're in Waldoboro. And he was just like, I don't know. Like, where am I? And he said during the show, he said, this place is awesome. I will come back and play it anytime. I can't believe I've never played the Waldo Theatre, which was so cool. And I think part of that is the audience. The audience is so appreciative and grateful to have somebody like Henry Rollins or John Waters come to their little theater in Waldoboro, Maine, and they didn't have to drive to Portland to go see this. Like, this was happening in their backyard, and that feels I mean, that's just really cool. And that I think what I'm really excited about and I love seeing is I think that brings a level of pride to the area. People are feeling, wow, like look at Waldoboro, and people are noticing us, and people are coming here. And I look around the town and I think of all the things that are happening alongside the Waldo Theatre, and it just feels like this. You know, for a long time, Waldoboro has just been kind of the forgotten coastal town of Route 1, and it feels more intentional now that Waldoboro is a destination. I
have a theory that Waldoboro has a chip on its shoulder. That's my working theory. I
can see that. I mean, you know, you look at how business Route 1 developed, and people now they think of Waldoboro as Moody's Diner and a couple gas stations, and that's it. And people who come to the Waldo Theatre are like, I had no idea there was a downtown.
We get the similar thing with the 5K and the half marathon. People get in there and they've never been to Waldoboro before, and they're like, I had no idea all this stuff was here.
I didn't know Waldoboro had so many hills.
Yeah, they definitely say that. Around mile 10,
Yeah.
I hear that a lot. Yeah, it gets pretty rough.
I hate this place. I love it.
Well, I'll be right back next year as soon as I recover.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to talk about the types of programming you have. We have film, theater, music. Those are the three big ones?
Those are the three big pillars. We also do education. Mm-hmm. And I guess like comedy would kind of fall into music, live events. And yeah, we try to program a little bit of everything each quarter, each month, but we all have, so there's a film programmer, there is a community theater director. I myself am in charge of, I'm the talent buyer for concerts, live music, and comedy. And then we have an education specialist too. So we all work together to kind of fill the schedule, and we all work a little bit differently. The films are a lot easier to program with maybe only 4 to 6 weeks lead time. Right now, I'm working on offers booking into June, July of 2026. I just confirmed a show for September of 2026. So we're all kind of working with like this schedule, trying to figure out like, how does that look, along with rentals and with education, which our education department, we do both after school programs as well as summer camps and school vacation camps, but we also teach in the school system as well. So
you're going out to like Miller School or GSB? Or...
Yeah. We've got a really cool education program. It's called the Interact program. And Mia Branco, shout out to her. She's fantastic. She has developed this system, this program where we go into, I think it's like 5 or 6 different schools in the area, and they work with the teachers and the students in grades 3 to 5, working on theater skills, but the object isn't to get children to memorize lines to a play. It's not about getting the kids to perform. It's about getting kids to articulate and make eye contact and use their bodies and express their emotions.
I think Reese is in this. I think he's doing it now.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
oh, cool.
Because he had to be a dead fish.
Yeah.
He was like very good at, like, it was a very dramatic death of a fish.
Yeah. Well, a lot of what they do too is they have the children write their own plays.
Yeah.
And like the storylines are wacky. Like you thought that movie that you saw
Dr.
was
Derp.
weird. Yeah.
That's his character's name.
Yeah. It's so cool to see kids have that kind of, especially in today's world where like they're able to just let their imagination go and follow this path down to creativity and work collaboratively with their peers under the guidance of teachers and instructors to create art. Like that's, especially in where art is being cut so much from the public, system, it's really cool to see that being fostered. So that's another part of our programming that we have there.
Yeah, and that's the sort of thing that can hook a kid for life.
Oh.
And you would never know.
Yes. I've probably had a good handful of people who've come up to me after shows or movies and said, I worked on the lights for a theater production of Wizard of Oz years ago. 30 years ago. And I remember it, and it brought me to this job that I have in communications now, where I still involved in community theater, or I have a love for the arts. Like it's really cool to see how that spark can stay with a person through life.
And if nothing else, it gives them an appreciation for other people who do it.
Yeah. Oh, and that's a huge thing that we're constantly trying to, I don't say capitalize on, but we're trying to talk about, which is the idea that the arts just aren't a transactional thing where like you go, you buy a ticket, you sit down, you enjoy the performance, you clap, you leave, you go home. We're hoping that there's an appreciation for the work, and also an understanding that these artists and these institutions are just so important to the fabric of our community. Like the arts are so important, like politics aside, and even like what's happening on stage aside. It's just it's such a beautiful thing, and it's so important, and we can't not appreciate it.
And the one thing, you know, if you're the person who ran the lights 30 years ago for whatever, you're not just sitting there pushing buttons like this board here in front of me. You're watching this whole ecosystem make a show run and be put on, and you're seeing all the behind the scenes stuff that's not just the 5 people on stage.
Yeah, it's creative. And there are so many more people for community theater. There are so many more people off the stage who are making it happen than the ones that are on the stage. And you know, we just did a really great run of the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee musical back in September. I think we did 5 shows, and I think 4 of them might have been sold out.
Oh, wow.
And it was such an amazing production. Like it was community theater elevated. It was just the sets, the actors, the music, the direction, the production of it was just awesome. And the people involved behind the scenes, raising money, working the lights, being the stage manager, doing the costume design, all those other people were part of this process. And it just was so cool to see all of that come together in a performance.
Yeah. It's like a film shoot, and there's just like a small army behind the camera.
Yep. Yeah. And it becomes a family, especially in community theater. When you're working with a group of people for 6, 8, 10 weeks, you become a family.
Yeah, it's like it's very weird. It's like instant family, and then you all go your separate.
Yeah, everybody just disperses,
and then you don't see them again for like 6 months. You run into them in Hannaford, you're like, oh my gosh.
Yep.
So let's transition to Murdering the Mob. I saw this on the calendar. I'm assuming this is a play. If it's not a play and you are actually involved in the mafia, then we can cut this part.
Listen, funding is really tight right now for nonprofit arts organizations. So that is a play written by a local playwright.
Oh, cool.
And it's interactive in that the characters in the play are working in the audience as well, interacting with the audience to help solve a murder mystery. So that one's going to be really good too. I think that one's 5 dates as well in November.
In November, which is so far away.
Yeah, it's so far away.
Yeah.
But you should buy your tickets quickly.
It's like in 2 weeks. It's insane. All right, so let me see. Okay, let's talk about membership, because you can become a member. I think I might be a member. I don't remember, but you can. What are the different forms of membership? What's the benefit of the membership other than just being a member? So
our membership program, it does a couple of things for us. One, it helps us to raise funds, and it also helps us to bring people into the theater to become engaged, so that they're part of the newsletter and they hear about what's happening. Right. And different levels of membership can get you advanced tickets to shows. It can get you preferred parking. You get free movie passes. So there's different levels and perks to that. Our membership drive happens in May, and it's a year-long membership. And that's one of the ways too that we, because we're a really small, scrappy nonprofits arts organization, we're always looking to expand not just our patrons, attendees, people who buy tickets, but we're looking to expand our members, our donors, our volunteers, our board members. So we're always looking for ways to grow our base, and that's one of them.
Okay. Cool. So in May, people can join them, become a member, or they could probably do it now. I would assume
they can do it now. I mean, we're always, we are always taking donations, and we're always looking for volunteers. You can go onto our website at thewaldotheatre.org and sign up to usher a show, to work the concession stand, to become a member. Just ways to get involved.
What would you say, other than just money, because that's the easy answer? What are the challenges in keeping the Waldo going in 2025 that maybe didn't exist in 2000, or I don't know? What are the big challenges in keeping it going?
Okay, well, we got to talk about money, but I will put that one on pause for a second. I think the big challenge is one that we kind of touched on earlier, which is the information cycle is so quick. People hear something and then they forget about it. So trying to stay relevant in people's minds, like staying at the forefront of what we're doing, and publicizing, like constantly just having people be aware of, oh yeah, the Waldo Theatre, because there's just so much competition for people's attention out there, and I think people are, I mean, movies are a perfect example. People consume movies and film in a way that's very different than what they did in 1936. I mean, when the theater was open in 1936, they used to show 2 to 3 movies a day.
Wow.
And people would come. That place was packed. And that was before televisions, and that was before the internet, and that was before even really highways and people, which is why, like, you look up at the coast of Maine and every town has an opera house or a movie theater. And people were gathering not just in movie theaters, but at bean suppers and Oddfellows halls and things like that. So that's changed now. So trying to get people to come together for any reason, I think, is really hard, because you're competing against people's schedules and their finances and just other distractions. So that's hard. And I think you take that and you combine it with a nonprofit arts organization that's always looking for volunteers. And people are really, they're busy. People have 1 or 2 jobs. They've got kids. They've got a PTO. There's soccer games all over the place. There's the news. There's all different ways that people are filling up their day, and they might not always have time to volunteer or give back. So trying to keep people excited about that is we're always trying to do that.
Did you find, because you guys had somehow kept us going through COVID? I have no idea how you managed to do that.
Yeah, that was
from the look on your face.
COVID was hard. I mean,
PTSD there.
So just a little timeline. We started fundraising in really actively in 2018 with a capital campaign to reopen the doors. The roof was falling in. We needed to do a lot of fixing of the roof and plaster and plumbing and moisture and so on and so forth. And the idea was 2020 is going to be our big reopening.
That'll be the year.
This is going to be the year. We are going to and people are going to be so excited to gather. And of course that fell apart. Now that was definitely a double-edged sword, because on one hand, we hadn't done a lot of the work wasn't completed yet, and we didn't have all of the funding. So by being closed an extra 12, 18 months, we were able to get more of that work done. The flip side of that is, because we weren't open, we didn't qualify for any funds. And there were a lot of other
the PPP loans.
Exactly. Yeah. And there were a lot of other organizations that did, and we found ourselves really behind because we weren't open. We couldn't get some of those funds. So I would say 2021, we started off really careful. I mean, we didn't have a lot of money. We couldn't take a lot of risks, and we just didn't know. There just wasn't a lot of data points out there to figure out, what are people going to, what do people want, right?
Do people even want to be in public?
Yeah. Yeah. So there was a lot of success stories that we had, and there were also a lot of okay, so maybe that won't work. Let's try something different. But I can say, looking back on, 22, 23, 24, and certainly this year, you can definitely see an upward trend of expansion of offerings, right? Breadth and size. And, if you had told me that we were going to book John Waters or 10,000 Maniacs or Andy Summers of The Police, Roger McGuinn of Craig Ferguson. I mean, I would have said, there's no way. You're crazy. I mean, Sun Ra Orchestra, and now we've done that, and it's a feather in our cap for sure. But it's also allowing us to take more risks. I mean, I look at offers now that I get in, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool that they want to play here. And I feel confident that if we do this, people will come.
Do you find that sort of coming out of COVID, there's a desire from people to be in a communal space?
Yeah, I think we're kind of, I think we're kind of past that point of the reason why people want to gather now is because of the after effects of COVID. I think there was certainly a time where in maybe late 21 into 22 where we would have concerts and we'd have people, distance and mask and you could feel the energy in the room that were people that were just so excited to get together and listen to music. And I talk about music because that's the one that I have the most experience with. But that was, music is this really interesting piece of art where all these people are participating in a performance and they're all feeling something really powerful. So you could see that with COVID, people were just so grateful to be back together in a room, appreciating, listening, participating in music. And now I think it's shifted to people want to get together with their neighbors and see each other as humans and say, oh, you like Robert John and the Wreck? I like him too. And there's no politics. And there's no red, there's no blue. It's just people getting together because they like Jimmy Buffett tribute bands.
Sure.
They want to hear the Led Zeppelin cover band. They want to see Patty Griffin. So that it feels, it's a little bit, it's different. And it feels like a safe space, really, is what it feels like.
I noticed last year for the Waldoboro Talent Show, there was this real sense of the entire community coming together. We're recording this before that, so we can confidently say that it went fantastic.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Just great time by everybody.
Amazing talent.
But that was like last year, that was a real, like, that was one of the bigger community pride moments I can remember as someone who grew up in Waldoboro.
Huge. And I think that was felt from the performers and the audience members. People loved that idea. And I'll be honest, when I first heard a Waldoboro talent show, I was like, oh, like, how's that going to go? What's that going to look like?
That could go rough.
I mean, are we going to get 2 people who show up and want to participate, or like what, or is anyone going to want to come? But we had so many performers and we had so many audience members, and it wound up being this amazing, point of pride and celebration. And I'm really excited for this year's.
Yeah, it was. I could see that would be the fear. You're like, what if it's like 3 guys and one of them is just juggling?
Exactly.
And he's not very good at juggling.
Exactly.
And this could get rough.
It could get really rough.
But it was really good. There was a lot of really talented things, and Sam did a great job hosting it.
Yeah, he's great. He's great.
And it was a great event.
And I think it was really fun to see, the fire department show up, or public works people, or people that you just know as, the mail carrier, and you don't realize he has a hidden talent for juggling, right? Like, I think that kind of being able to see your neighbor in a different way is it humanizes them, is what it does.
Yeah, it humanizes them and goes to your point of not being red or blue. It's just that this is your neighbor.
Right.
And did you know that he could sing?
Right.
No, you did not.
No, you
That's
didn't.
amazing.
Yeah. And then you take that and you move outward from that, and you realize, oh, wow, like the Waldo is doing all these great things. And you look up and you say, well, look at, the Narrows is busy, and look at Perch Cafe and Odd Ale Wives and the Waldoboro Inn. And you just start to see the ripple effects of what that looks like in a community. And it just kind of, it raises the bar. It kind of buoys the boats.
I mean, I was in downtown like 10 years ago, and with the Waldo closed, and after the movie Pizza Shop burned down, or not burned down, but closed, and it was pretty, it wasn't great.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot happening.
It wasn't great. It was the Narrows and whatever was happening at the Narrows that night, and that was sort of it. Yeah, but it seems like a much more revitalized downtown.
Yeah, and it still feels really authentic. Like it still feels very much like Waldoboro. And I love looking around and seeing new faces, and there are so many more people in the community that are coming out to participate that I wouldn't have thought that they would have done that. And they're here and they're showing up, and that's really great.
And they're coming back, I assume.
Oh, and they're coming back. Yeah. And they're volunteering, and they're participating, and I think like they're participating in different ways, whether that's, going to a history talk over at the Open House of History, or they're stopping in and having a cup of coffee and talking to their neighbor at Perch, or in knitting, or, they're going to play Frisbee golf over at Cider Hill.
Yeah. Yeah. What was the first, I'm going to pivot a little bit here. What was the first act that you booked? Because you've been doing this since the reopen. What was the first act you booked where you went, okay, I think this is going to work?
Oh, that was Victor Wooten. That was the first big act that we had come across our table. So Victor Wooten is part of the Wooten brothers. He plays with Bella Fleck and the Flecktones.
Okay.
World-renowned bassist. The opportunity came to book him, and it was like, oh boy, it's really expensive. Like, it's really niche. It's a bass player. What is that going to look like? And we worked with the Mid-Coast Music Academy up in Rockland, and we sold out the show. He did a workshop beforehand with maybe 40 students who came for free to work with him. And I think that was the first moment where I said, oh my God, like it's going to work. It's like it's almost, it's like you want to throw a party, right? And you spend all this time like planning the party, and then the big night comes and you say, I hope people come. I hope people show up. And then I hope they have a good time. And they did. And that for me was okay. And I remember thinking too, like, well, now we can take more risks. Now we can kind of expand and try different things. And like I said, there've been some things that we did that fell flat for whatever reason. But that I think was the first show that I said, oh, okay, like this resonated well, but also we're legitimate. Like, we're not just some, podunk theater in the middle of nowhere who's got a couple of speakers and a microphone. Like, we're legitimate. And that felt really good.
Cool. So you mentioned the workshop. You guys, there's a series of workshops. What different things, if I'm sitting at home or I'm driving my car and I'm like, boy, I would like, maybe, what do they got? Like, what are some of the different things that you could sign yourself up for, sign your kids up for to get them out of the house?
So we do a lot of workshops with our education department, and a lot of them, our most successful workshops are improv comedy. Oh. We've actually got one coming up in November with Damerscott local Ryan Gall, who you might know from the movie world as well, and Jeremy Brothers, and they're going to be doing a improv comedy workshop, and those have been really well attended. We also, when we can, we build a workshop into a concert. So beforehand, after sound check, we'll invite some people in to work with a musician about theory, or just kind of like a Q&A session, or just be part of the sound check thing. So those happen less frequently, but the big thing with workshops would be education. And right now, improv comedy is hot, which is really neat. Yeah, I think
comedy's kind of having a moment.
Comedy is having a moment. And comedy is interesting. I've been booking some comedy, and I'm about to book some more. And it's been one that I'm a little hesitant about, because I don't know, like, is comedy subjective? Is it objective? I don't know. Like, what I think is funny, are you going to like? And also, I mean, we're not a comedy club. We're a theater. So
are they going to get invited to this Riyadh festival?
Exactly.
And
right.
It's a problem.
I mean, and there've been some comedians where I've heard their material and I was like, oh no, that's not, for all sorts of reasons, that's not going to work, whether I find it funny or not. But comedy is spoken word comedy is something that I'd like to grow more of. And I think there is an appetite for it, because I really didn't think anyone was going to come to John Waters, and boy, did they show up.
Huh. I thought that would sell out.
Yeah.
But then that's the guessing game of doing this. Like, we could look at the same thing and you go, disaster, and I go, I think this is gonna be great, or vice versa, and nobody knows until the doors open.
Exactly. And I mean, and John Waters was one of the sweetest, funniest, gracious people we've had in the theater. He just is lovely to work with. Like, he is the gem of a man, and is just the stories he has, and he's
I've never heard
brilliant.
a bad thing about him.
He's brilliant. He's just a sweet man, and he's so fun. And after our last show, he didn't want to go back to his hotel room, so he went out to Myrtle Street Tavern and I think did karaoke.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like he's just great.
I used to live across the street from Myrtle Street. Can you imagine if you're just at Myrtle Street Tavern some night and you had maybe one too many drinks, and then John Waters walks in and starts doing karaoke?
Well, I heard that the crowd grew. Like, there were some rumblings, and then some people got on their phones, and the next thing you knew, like, Myrtle Street was packed with people.
And there's just some Myrtle Street regular there going, what is going on?
Yeah, what happened? What's happening right now?
That would be an amazing evening.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so one thing people don't know is that you can do a rental, and you can rent the theater. You can rent it to show for a birthday party or to show. I rented it to premiere my film, and it went really well.
It went really well.
I don't think we sold out, but it was
pretty close.
It was pretty close. Yeah. It definitely made money. It turned a profit. So tell people about rentals, and they could just rent it and just bring Star Wars.
Yeah, so you can, if you go to our website, there's a rental application form, and we have different tiers of rentals, whether you're a for-profit, a non-profit, or it's a private rental. And we can show films. You can have your own comedy show. There's certain guidelines that we have as far as what nothing political, and it's got to fit within our mission statement. But yeah, we've had a lot of really fun birthday parties where people rented classic movies.
Sure.
We have somebody who rents the theater every year for the Super Bowl.
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
Yeah.
And he just invites his friends.
He invites his friends. Yep, we have a big Super Bowl party.
It
is pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. I don't know if that's allowed, but the NFL is weird about that.
Well, it's a private party, so we're not selling tickets. So
okay. Interesting. That's a good idea.
He brings his fountain of wing sauce and his wings, and he has his friends. And
wait. There's a fountain of wing sauce?
Yeah, it's a fountain of wing sauce. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I got to become friends with this person.
Yeah. I'll give you his information offline.
All right. Do you have anything coming up other than we talked about Murdering the Mob? Anything coming up? I guess there's Sundance Shorts, Adam Ezra Group.
Yep.
Like
Adam
what's
Ezra
on the horizon?
is coming back. So in December we've got Adam Ezra Group. That's always been a sold out show. Heather Pearson trio is coming back. They do this really beautiful Charlie Brown Christmas where she plays the whole Vince Guaraldi album. Have you heard of that?
I know Charlie Brown Christmas.
This is her 4th year performing it at the Waldo, and it's been a sellout show. But it's a beautiful show playing all of these classic songs that you just can't help but get goosebumps to because everybody knows them.
I have a friend who's a TV critic, and she says that if in 500 years, when we've completely destroyed everything, at least we'll have a Charlie Brown Christmas, and that will be proof to future civilizations that we weren't completely worthless.
I 100% agree. Yeah, I encourage you, if you haven't seen that show, come to it. It's just for children of all ages. It's really beautiful. We just announced the other day, Sam Grissman, whose dad, Dave Grissman, Dog Grissman, was in the Grateful Dead. He's coming back in January. He's a stand-up bass player, and he's coming with Tim O'Brien, who is a legendary fiddle guitar player, and Victor Furtado, who's a banjo player. We've got, let's see what else is coming up that I can
Hundreds
talk
of
about.
Beavers.
Hundreds of Beavers
Which
is
is
coming
awesome.
back. That's a great film. That's the special holiday screening of that is happening.
Great for kids.
Great for kids. Yep. Very, very cool piece of film.
And you have, I meant to mention earlier, Tony Curtis's son.
Yeah, Ben Curtis
does some screenings.
Yeah, he's been showing his dad's movies and doing a little Q&A behind the scenes story. What we've really found works for our film program is we do what's called Film Plus. So rather than just show a film, we'll invite a panel discussion, or we'll have more to offer than just a screening. We did this really great thing, I think it was maybe a year ago, called Smoke Sister Sauna Hood, where we actually rented some mobile saunas, and we had them in the back parking lot. We did a movie about cheese making, and we had a whole bunch of cheese purveyors giving out samples. We did a movie this summer called The Search for General Tso, and it was a documentary made by
Ian's film.
Ian Chaney.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's all about the search for the original recipe for General Tso's chicken, and we had different samples of local Chinese takeout restaurants, General Tso's chicken there. So
and for his other film, the one about fishing or something like that, they had some school came in and they had a microscope, and you could see tadpoles swimming around and stuff.
So it's all about just you've got the film, what happens on the screen, but then we try to take it into the audience in a more interactive way.
Right, because you could just watch whatever the movie is at home, and if you can turn it into, this is what they always talk about in film, you have to figure out how to turn it into an event.
Exactly.
Because then you're like, oh, where they're doing this other thing, okay, I'll go.
Right, yeah, something that isn't as passive. We do a lot with film festivals too, whether that's a documentary series or the Fly Fishing Film Festival or the Maine Outdoor Film Festival. So there's a really good appetite for it's like you said, the Sundance.
The Sundance Shorts. The Sundance Shorts, I always like going to those.
Yep.
I'm glad I looked at the thing because and hopefully I can go that day. Because a short block is great because even if you don't like one of them, it's like 6 minutes.
Right. Just wait a few minutes and then the next one will be up. Yep.
What you don't want to do is always bring your mother because some of the Sundance Shorts are very risky.
Well, I will say I have a 16 and an 18-year-old, and 2 years ago, the 18-year-old was 16, and she was like, I really want to go see John Waters. And I was like, okay. And yeah, I was like, oh boy, but she laughed and she thought it was great.
Well, that's proof that you raised them right.
There you go. That's what I thought.
That's
what I
really
thought.
the big takeaway there. Mm-hmm. That's at least my takeaway from that. All right, so let's wrap this up because you have, I'm sure, other things to do. How can people get involved? Like if they want to volunteer, if they want to, I don't know, get involved in any way.
Yeah, I think, you become a part of the theater when you buy a ticket, when you volunteer, when you donate, when you show up. And you can find all of that information at thewaldotheatre.org. And to go back to the most obvious thing that we haven't really talked about is the money aspect.
Okay, let's hit it.
One thing that we struggle with a little bit is the optics of, wow, the Waldo Theatre reopened and you've got all this programming and you're selling out all of these shows. You must be wildly successful.
You did roll up in a Lexus.
I did, yes. No, I didn't. We pay the artists fairly. It's a set price, but we pay our artists because that's what they're worth and that's the standard. Mm-hmm. When you take away our expenses, whether that's the HVAC or the staff or whatever it takes to keep that 1936 building running, there's not a lot left over for future investment. So we're always trying to communicate to people like, yeah, we're excited and we have this full calendar and we've got all these great shows and we're bringing Craig Ferguson and that's great, but there's still a need to donate and to fundraise. And that's really hard right now in this climate for nonprofit arts organizations, actually any nonprofit. It's really hard. Funding on the federal level, on the state level through foundations is completely changed. Mm-hmm. And I think that private donors have changed their philanthropy as well. And the other thing that's kind of interesting about where we live is there are a lot of very wealthy people who live in the mid-coast, and this is their second home. And some of them, I think, there's this idea that they do give to the arts, and they do very generously, but that's where they're from. Mm-hmm. So they give to Boston, to New York, to Philadelphia, to Michigan, wherever they're coming from, and they come up here, and some of them don't even engage with the arts because they don't leave the family compound. They don't want to leave the beach or the water or their boat. So we're always trying to talk about how even if you don't like Sun Ra Orchestra, it's really important to have places like the Lincoln Theatre, like the Waldo Theatre, like the Camden Opera House. You need to have these places. Even if you don't visit them regularly, they're really important to have. So we're always trying to reach out and fundraise and create awareness for how important this thing is. Like we really see ourselves as part of this hub of community where if we're successful, all these other branches of, like I talked about, all these other businesses are benefiting, and we're working in tandem to grow a stronger town.
And I would imagine the more successful you are, the easier it is for the Lincoln Theatre and vice versa.
Yeah, we have a really great relationship with the other theaters, Booth Bay, Chocolate Church, Vinegar Hill, the State Theatre, where we work together and we'll share artists that we can't use because of scheduling or what have you. And I think each theater is really different and unique, and they all bring something to the table. And I don't feel like there's really competition. There's really no elbowing out for things. But like I said, Maine has so much to offer anyhow. And then you add in all of these, things that happen, and it's sometimes it's hard to make the front page.
I read somewhere the landscape of just arts in general, and and this was about movie studios, has changed so much and has become so much more difficult that it used to be like in the 80s, like the studios would like hope the other studios' film failed, and now it's more of they're really hoping everybody's movie does really well, so the business stays strong.
Absolutely.
And people get into the habit of going to a movie theater, going to a Waldo Theater.
Absolutely.
And it becomes part of their routine because it's really easy to get out of that routine.
Oh, 100%. And that's, we sing the praises of all of the other organizations doing this. And also we know what it takes, right?
Yeah.
We know like what it takes to run these organizations. And it's definitely a lot of teamwork.
But they say teamwork makes the dream work.
That's what it does.
That's
and there is no I in team.
There is no I in team. That's true. All right. Thank you so much for doing this, Keri.
Okay, thanks. And we're going to see you at a show, right? You're going to be there in November. You're going to buy your tickets.
November.
Right?
That's so far away, though. Thanks so much.
All right. Thanks for having me, Lucas.
Thank you for listening to Beyond the Broadsheet, a podcast by the Lincoln County News. This podcast is produced by Lucas McNelly and Maya Zebert. Tyler Davis of Tyality Productions provides production support. Our theme music is by Stu Mahan and LCN Associate Editor / Bassist Sherwood Olin. The Lincoln County News hits newsstands across the county every Wednesday afternoon. And you can also access our work online at lcnme.com. If you have a question, comment, or suggestion, please email us at info@lcnme.com. As always, we're grateful for the support of our readers and listeners in Lincoln County and beyond. It's been great catching up today, and we'll talk with you again soon.